everyone, and welcome to my final F1 League race highlights on the old F1 2020 game here for TIR Senna, formerly known as SimM, formerly known as TOTD. So many names, don't really care anymore. Final round here at Brazil in the Red Bull for realistic cars and 100% races along with full qualifying segments. It was very interesting throughout this entire season. I haven't made any other videos for the season because I haven't been streaming, but it was fun to stream this one and make a video for it. Even if the quality isn't quite what I wanted, it's what we're gonna get for this video. But yeah, so on our last qualifying lap in Q3, you see a Renault in front of us. Para Quicks has actually set the fastest time so far in qualifying, which is really good considering as I try to get a slipstream off of him and the quality goes pretty bad. But yes, I think Kizuato sets a 106.5 and I set a 107.1, so quite a ways off. Qualifying was not my strong suit at all during this game segment. I was much better in F1 2019. But yeah, you hear me talking in the background. I was streaming. I had a few viewers, so I appreciated those who came out, and it definitely took me a lot longer than I wanted to make this video. But yeah, so we have 14 for this final race, and I was currently second in the championship with about a 26 or so point gap to third, which was Para Quicks in the Renault, so it was important for me to get a good result here today as we get to 5 red lights. And we are underway here at Brazil. I've always had tricky starts here at Brazil, and it was no different there, but I was good enough to keep the second place as St. Liam tries to go on my outside, but nothing really to do there, and we just slot in behind Kizuato to pick up our first warning. Not really what you want to do this early on, especially on a 100% race where time penalties, they sort of matter and they sort of do, because you can pick up a lot over the course, but at the same time the gaps tend to be a lot wider. And the first lap, the first few laps especially with the high fuel, it's very easy to catch yourself out going too fast into a corner or not braking early enough and getting those warnings. So it is handy to practice beforehand. But yeah, so we followed Kizuato for a while now. Then about lap 10, he started to ditch us, and this is when the rain started to come in. So I prefer the dry. I don't do well in the wet in general, much less with no line, which I've been doing this game in full for the first time, but I don't usually do. But the rain has started to come in. It was actually a custom weather they felt like doing that for fun, which I didn't exactly appreciate, but I mean, it ended up being pretty interesting. But yeah, so we have St. Liam right in the back of us. He's already picked up the penalty at this point, and he's trying to go down our inside, and I just block it because I can't really afford to lose position since we're going to box this lap. Yeah, I'm really struggling in these changeable conditions, though. It's always been a weakness of mine, but yeah, so it's important to keep him behind us for now anyways, as Jeff tells us as we lock up and nearly get overtaken by St. Liam there anyways, to come in to change for the intermediate tires. Thank you, Jeffrey. But yeah, he actually hits the back of us here, and we have to sort of lean to the left a little bit to keep control of the car. So we head into the pits on lap 12 as St. Liam thinks of another move and comes in with us, and we slow down just in time, 3 miles below the speed limit. And it's here that I actually turned my racing line back on. I was really wanting to keep the line on for the entire race considering my last one, but I just needed to stay competitive to stay in the fight for second in the championship. So I decided to turn line on begrudgingly. I didn't really want to, like I said, but yeah. Yeah, so I had to speed this up because just to show the audio is pretty funny behind it if you can hear it. But yeah, so St. Kizuato has pulled even more time on us in just a lap or two, and as the virtual safety car is out for I believe it was Harvey, actually. No, not Harvey. It was the other Racing Point. But yeah, it comes to an end, and we speed by 100th of a second, which was really unfortunate because I was braking so much. And then I brake into the pits and 2 miles before, and we have to drive on through, and we lose a lot of places. We were looking pretty good for a podium at that point. At this point, we are down to 7th, just in front of IRL Schumacher. And this is actually a really bad point of time in the race for that to happen, because they scheduled for there to be heavy rain just after. So, I mean, not even 5 laps later, it's already wet conditions. As you can see, a lot of other people have turned on to the wet tires. We've decided to stay on because it was supposed to go back to intermediates later on in the race. I was wondering if I could just hold out until then. And, well, the pace difference is very apparent with St. Liam and Para right on me. You see St. Liam's going to go right around my outside, which is a really nice move. Ooh! And then I get a little tipsy there. But we keep hold of it, and that was basically the point where I knew I needed to come in, because I was afraid I'd lose control of the car before we actually got back to the intermediate conditions. But you'll actually see as we come into the pits, and we speed by 9 miles an hour, which is just, you know, kicking a dead horse at this point. But you'll see that FRT Harvey in the McLaren actually did continue on. He was in front of me at the time because of my drive-through. He managed to make good use of it, and actually gain quite a lot of time from it once we go back to the intermediate conditions. Yeah, we're right behind IRL Schumacher, who is trying to stuff it out on the intermediates as well. And you can see we're a lot faster than him, even if it is a pace difference with the Red Bull versus the Ferrari. But we're going to go down his inside here. Second gear, and I think we made a little bit of contact, but I left him enough space, and then we carry on from lap 24, and then you'll see a few laps later that it will be time again for the intermediate tires, and yep, so lap 27, we actually catch back up to Harvey, so I'm getting ahead of myself a little bit. Yeah, we catch back up to Harvey, who's still sticking it out on these intermediates, and you know, the pace difference is still there, but it's at this point where the rain is honestly about to lighten up. As it gets a little squiggly, we'll go down its inside again. We're making a habit of overtaking here, and we leave a car's width just about with the curb and swing around the outside. No contact made. Pretty nice move. It felt nice, even if it was just because of the changeable conditions. And Camboy and the Haas is actually in front of us. About to get lapped, but we won't skip that to another fast forward sequence on lap 30 where we need to come in for intermediates again, and we speed again by 8 miles an hour this time. So we're getting a little better, but still not quite where we want to be, so we have to take that 5-second stop go from the last time we sped, even though we already have another one on top of us. We still haven't picked up any actual exceeding track limits time penalties yet. Yes, we come back out in 7th, just ahead of IRL Schumacher, who was still on the intermediates at the time. He never pitted. And then we get to lap 39, where it's actually dried out completely here, and I had to skip pitting on the previous lap because my teammate Cookie Chip had pitted, and I didn't want to lose the time, but I probably lost more time staying out as we make a little bit of contact with Para. He goes around my outside. Yeah, I definitely lost more time staying out than I would have just by double stacking, so it wasn't the best choice, but we're going to come in now, and thankfully I don't think we speed this time. Yeah, no, we don't. Yeah, I made sure that time. But yeah, we have to serve another 5-second time penalty, which just drops us even more down, back into 7th. We seem to really be enjoying the 7th position, but yeah, I definitely prefer to be further up as we get passed by a lap car as well. So it was these next 15 laps, as you see, we've actually closed up from about 15 seconds down to 7 to Marcolin in the Mercedes and Harvey in the McLaren, as it is now intermediate time again, and we've come back out on lap 56. With the race going by pretty fast, I wanted to keep the highlights nice and short. But yeah, so now we're on to lap 62, which is about 7 laps later, and I finally caught up to them, to both Harvey and Marcolin. And at this point, actually, it's heavy rain again. So it really is a strategy call on whether you want to stay out on the intermediates and hope it works, or put on the wets and hope you can make up the ground in time. Because it's really difficult to say what was going to happen. But yeah, so I back off a little bit here, wanting to save my ERS when I actually have a good chance of it. With these intermediates, and no DRS obviously, even with a faster car than the car in front of us, it was very difficult to try and get a run, and the few runs I did, it never really worked. So we'll skip along to lap 65, a few laps later after being stuck behind. Then I decide that I am done. I don't want to finish 6th in this race. So I take a bold strategy call to come to the pits and put on some wet tires, which Liam actually does as well. He was in a much better position, so he will probably have an easier time of getting back up to where he was in 2nd place. Yeah, so we'll come out on lap 66 in 6th place this time because Cookie Chip had some problems and we jumped him because he had to make an extra stop during the dry period. Yes, we come on to just 3 laps to go, and we've already caught back up to Harvey and Marcolin, which is really saying something with the pace difference being over 20 seconds down on them only what, 3 or 4 laps ago. So yeah, I wanted to take my time with this because I didn't think there'd be anything else to achieve after passing these two, but I was very happy to catch back up to them like this and still have some time remaining. So we go down the inside at the last turn on Harvey, and we get the move done with using some overtake and rich mix. And then we're going to immediately get on the back of Marcolin here, who's still in those intermediates as well, along with Para in 3rd, about ahead of us. And we do a little bit of a Max Verstappen, sort of, and scoot around the outside of Marcolin. And it's at this point that Para is only 8 seconds ahead, and he has 3 more seconds of time penalties than we do. So if we don't get any more warnings, and I close in by about 4 seconds, then I could get the final podium spot, which would be truly magnificent after all the problems I've had in this race, which were all my fault, to be fair, which is kind of sad with it being my last race, but it is what it is. But yeah, so you can see on the last lap, we actually closed up massively to be nearly within 3 seconds already, with still 3/4 of a lap to go. And at this point, I'm wondering if I'll be able to catch him and pass him on track to finish in 3rd, rightfully. But yeah, so we're very bare bones with the fuel and the ERS, but we are massively catching up to Para Quicks here, and you can just see the distance to him closing down with every single corner, every single entry and exit, and even on the straights, because it's a lot easier to keep it flat. But yeah, so we come through to approach the final sector, and I'm already right in the back of him, so I'm thinking I could totally pass him on the final straight and finish 3rd rightfully, and then get my final podium interview and have a pretty decent comeback, honestly. So yeah, we're coming up to the final straight, and we're enabling overtake and rich mix, and we're coming through, but he aquaplanes, and then he hits us, and then we spin out, and we lose our front wing, but thankfully we are still in the race. But as you can see, a big problem is that Marcolin behind us has no penalties, and we had 6. So it's all a matter of if he will close up enough, and he does, it looks like. I was so upset about that, to be honest. But yeah, so I was very upset about that, to lose it. So I had a few words with him, and I mean, I understood the issue, but yeah, it was just unfortunate that it had to happen like that. So I believe after stewarding, I ended up getting the podium back. If not, maybe it was 4th, but I'll just call it a podium. But yeah, so it was a quick little video. 13 minutes was pretty long, but maybe short at the same time for a 100% race. But yeah, I just wanted to make a highlights video for this final race, and just to say as like a thank you and something to have for keepsake, being done with F1 League racing from F1 2020. So we have St. Kiswato winning the race, and then St. Liam in 2nd, with, after stewarding, it was myself in 3rd, Marcolin in 4th, Para Quicks in 5th, and then Harvey, Schumacher, Grimmy, Smithy, Camboy, PDNB, Flavor, and Cookie Chip, and everyone else DNFing, I believe. But yeah, that has been the final race of TIR in, what was it? It was, yeah, TIR Senna. There's no season for it, but yeah, so look for a career highlights video sometime in the future. I have big plans for it, and I hope you all will stick around and support me in it. should be some good fun. But yeah, so eventually that will be coming out. And yeah, thank you for watching, and have a great day. Bye.